Strength has always been my greatest athletic advantage, but strength alone doesn't make you fast, and carrying unnecessary fatigue into a running workout can make you slower. The question for this block is how much strength I need to keep, what kind of strength running on a blade demands, and what I'm willing to temporarily let go. Welcome to the episode. Thanks for popping in. Give you a quick recap of the last episode. I sort of kicked off a series. I'm about halfway through a 15-week training block trying to build the fastest mile that I can. This is all leading into my primary goal for the year, which is my first HYROX race, which is going to be in December in Nashville. Very excited about this. I get to leverage something I'm very good at with the strength side of things and my CrossFit background from way back when, with something that I'm really working on building, which is my running, my foot speed. It's pretty cool, pretty exciting, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. So with that being my next objective, I need to make sure that I get through this block without giving away a ton of strength. Now, I have a very broad and big strength base. I've been strength training for over 15 years, so it's not just gonna go away. So one of the biggest things I'm working on, and we're gonna be discussing in this episode, is how I'm balancing strength training with my endurance training, knowing that while I need to maintain some strength, especially as I go into the next phase, I need to make sure it doesn't get in the way of my training for that mile. It's important to note as you watch this video that I'm entering this project as somebody who doesn't need to build a strength base. So while I'm going to be discussing some reductions in strength volume, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what everybody else needs to do. I've spent years and years building up this strength base. So the big project here and the big thing that we're learning in this running block is how much strength training can I do to maintain, how much strength training do I need to do to benefit my mile, and how much is too much where it gets in the way of my running trainings, which is right now, that's my A slot. So if you're trying to do the hybrid thing, it's very important to understand that we can train multiple characteristics at the same time, but we can't treat them all like they're the most important. All right, so we're going over strength and endurance and how do we balance it. So let's just start with the weekly layout. I am running 5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday, Saturday. Right now, I've just moved into a more anaerobic phase in my training. My Monday workout is interval-based. My Tuesday run is easy, base run, low heart rate. My Wednesday run is another speed session. I'm off on Thursday. My Friday is a elevated pace, like an out and back, where my coach is giving me mile times to hit for about 3 or 4 miles. And then my Saturday is my long, easy run, right now about 8 to 9 miles. Again, just nice low heart rate. Running, nice and comfortable. So when it comes to balancing the strength training, which I'm doing 3 of those a week right now, that's going to change after this block, but for right now, it's only 3. I need to do my lower body session, and I need to make sure that I'm protecting my higher intensity sessions, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so my strategy for this one is to get my low body strength work done on Wednesday as soon as I can after my speed session on Wednesday morning. This gives me the biggest amount of time, so the most recovery opportunity between that low body strength session and that out and back on Friday. So the better I can do that, the better it all works. After that, I am lifting upper body. Sometimes I'm doing push-pull, and sometimes one's a push, one's a pull. I'm typically going Monday and then either Thursday or Sunday, depending on my life, depending on schedule. One of the key points here is understanding that you can train multiple qualities at the same time, but you cannot treat them all as the top priority. You have to have a top priority, and mine is 100% my running. So I need to build my strength training around that to support it and to make sure that if I have to take a step back on something, I would rather do 2 strength sessions instead of 3 in a week, instead of compromising a run or skipping a run for a lift. That's just not going to happen right now. There will be times when that balance is going to flip and change. But so that's what we've got going on. That's the basic framework of the training. And we're going to dive into more of the details on how we're making decisions inside of those sessions in the rest of the episode. All right, nice, simple, nice simple workout on the track today. Just working on some pace for a few miles. So I'm gonna warm up, gonna hit 3 miles is like the main piece of the workout. First one's at 9:20, second one's at 9:10, last one's at 9. This is what I've been doing feeding into my long run tomorrow. I'll do a little cool down after, but nice simple session. Let's do it.
Warm-up's done. Felt good, like fast. Like felt like I was running pretty easy, and my pace was almost my working paces. So let's just hope that that's a sign of good things to come, and this comes nice and easy. So let's go hit the meat of this thing.
Had to hustle off the track real quick, had a call with a potential client that I didn't forget about, but did not realize where my time was at. Times today were a little bit off. It was odd. My heart rate was way up. I felt like I wasn't running that hard, but I was running faster than I was supposed to today. So I don't really know what to make of that data. Just felt off. Didn't sleep well last night, so that could be it. I don't know. That being said, I am starving. It's time to eat. All right, I want to give this dish its flowers. So I've been struggling with calories and intake right now, and this thing has been a game changer. Stole it straight from a Nick Bear YouTube video, and it turns out it is pretty delicious. So it's rice, chicken, buffalo sauce, and the odd one, cottage cheese. So sick. I love this dish. I hope it's something I don't get tired of, because this is something that I could keep in rotation for a very long time. I personally have got like some big portions in here. It's 300 grams of rice, 8 ounces of chicken, a full serving of cottage cheese. I think it's flirting with like 90 grams of protein, like 90 grams of carbs, and only like 20 grams of fat. So little interruption. Something I've been struggling with all this training is trying to keep my calories up. And this is, since I've added this in this week, I have been feeling a tick better. So highly recommend this. I also had a friend saw me post it on my Instagram. He tried it with an Asian seasoning on his chicken, or marinade or sauce or whatever, and said it was really, really good as well. I don't know about that one. I do know that this rips. All right, so diving into some programming strategy I have for my low body lifting day while I'm in this very running intensive block. It's really important to understand that I'm not training for a squat PR or a deadlift PR or anything like that. I'm trying to train relevant strength qualities. And then on top of that, because strength is not in the A slot right now, it's extra important that I am getting the most bang for my buck with my exercise selection. So how many boxes can I check is a really important piece to me. So I get this done in fewer exercises. Typically, my low body exercise days are 3 to 5 exercises at most. And so today we're going to be more towards 5. Just to start with this, I will typically choose in my A slot for the day is either going to be a squat or a hinge. That's going to be bilateral. And then the next exercise I'm going to do is going to be whatever the A wasn't, squat or hinge, and will be unilateral. So today we're doing a Hatfield squat. For my bilateral squat, that's in my A. When these are done, I'm gonna do a staggered stance RDL with the landmine, so getting a unilateral hinge. And so that's the start of how we're making sure that we're checking all the basic boxes with my first couple of exercises. And we'll get into the next big piece of the puzzle is of managing how to train strength and endurance concurrently, is really about managing intensity. And that can come through a number of ways. One of the primary things I'll do is I will simply set a cap on myself. I've been lifting long enough to know, like, for example, today 325 is where I cap myself on squats. That's not a relatively heavy squat for me, but adding in some pausing, some tempo work can allow me to still get good work out of that lower number. And that's a big piece of the puzzle when it comes to balancing these two things. So in a lot of ways, that managing intensity is about making sure you're asking the right question, which in this case for me is asking, is this enough? Not how much can I do? All right, when it comes to accessories, this is a lot by feel for me, because again, I've been doing this for a very long time. I will usually do 2 to 4 accessory exercises. Today we're going to be at 2. I'm sorry, I'll usually do 1. Sometimes I just do 1 after I check the other 2 boxes. I literally just do like 1 other exercise. Today we're doing 2. I'm going to be doing a landmine split squat isometric. This has been a big isometric for me for building stability and comfort on my prosthetic as well. So if you're an amputee, figuring this particular exercise out comes with a ton of return. And a Copenhagen plank, so 2 isometrics. So holds, I think, are a huge piece of the puzzle when it comes to this equation, where I'm already doing a lot of high rep, repetitive impact with all the running, volume and mileage. So those are going to be my 2 today. Others that I'm a big fan of, particularly to support running, is any sort of sled drag. So it's concentric only. I've already gotten some eccentric work today. So it's concentric only, backwards, forward drags, lateral drags, pushes, pulls, what have you. Anything on the sled, fantastic. I love a belt squat march. I love like side planks off the knee, really kind of focus on that glute. Exercises like that are typically what I lean on. I keep it simple. I keep it low repetition, and I try to do things that I can get some good time under tension without putting a ton of extra reps on the joints. All right, strength session's done. So let's wrap up and kind of overview the basic filters of how I'm employing a strength strategy in this current running phase, when it's the first time I'm really trying to prioritize like this. So we're trying to find the minimums here for me. First things first is maintaining high value strength items. You know, we talked about it. Every session starts with a squat or a hinge, and then the next movement is the complementary squat or hinge. The next filter then becomes what really supports the running, and those are 3 buckets that I'm trying to make sure I'm touching on. Hip extension, unilateral control, and anything just basic stability. Running on a blade requires a lot of stability to support the power output required. So that's a big piece of the puzzle there. And then from there, we're trying to work on reducing as much expensive volume as possible. I don't need super high volumes. I don't need a pump. I don't want to be sore right now. Like, I don't want my low body sessions to leave me sore. That's probably a miss, and it's reducing things like that. And that's where I talk about things like the sleds, the belt squat march you saw me do a little bit in my warm up. Things like that go a very long way towards making the strength program work for me and not against my primary goal, which is that mile time.
Wrapping this guy up from the chair today. So really went over like the strategies I'm using to right now serve the season I'm in. And if you're going to attack the hybrid thing, I think that there's 3 particular seasons you need to spend time in, and they're always going to be rotating at some level, but early on it's really important to hit these first 2. So right now, because I'm coming from the strength angle and I'm moving towards endurance and building endurance, this is probably the first one I need to do. Because I have the bigger strength base, I'm in a season where I'm going to try to find my minimums. That's what you're seeing in this video, is me trying to find my minimums to stay strong, to not go backwards, and to make sure it's still, my strength is serving my running. Because especially as an amputee, the strength minimums, like the prerequisites to run well on a running blade, and the skill prerequisites are much different, or at least to the degree. Our floor is much higher in terms of what the minimums are to do this well. And so I don't think it's wise to abandon strength at all. And then there's also going to be seasons where now I'm going to figure out what's the minimum amount of running I need to do to still pursue a strength goal. And then season 3, we use the information from those to figure out how we build this up into like the 3rd version of a season, which is how do we go hard on both, knowing that can't last forever. Like, again, we need to choose our shots there. So while I know that, stronger is going to give me more potential, but my strongest version of me is probably not my fastest. There's so many more things that have to come out of my training. I have to be developing not just strength to move a barbell, but strength inside of particular functions. The movement quality needs to be there. If it's going to translate from, if a Hatfield squat is going to help me run, the squat has to be at a high caliber. The hip mechanics have to be very strong. So that's something that I may dive into in the future in terms of like the hybrid approach and how training quality comes into play in terms of minimizing expensive volume. And another thing I may want to dive into, let me know if you're interested in this one, is me talking about like what are the actual strength demands and like how I go and attack the strength demands of running on a prosthetic. So if that's interesting to you, let me know in the comments. That would probably be a very fun episode for me to make. Thanks for coming by. See you on the next one.
What do you need? Do you need to be? You need attention. You need to be in the video. Oh my goodness! All right, we're gonna do this with the assistance of my good buddy Aldo here.